Hey, I wanted to show y'all how I build apps. I've been doing this since probably July or so, and it has changed my life, being able to build software. Growing up, I always thought it would be cool to found a tech company, right? Like Steve Jobs and Elon Musk are my heroes. They have founded awesome companies, and I wanted to create something as well. And the act of creation in the tech and software world is what is so attractive to me. Taking an idea and then turning it into reality is incredible. It's one of the best feelings in the world. I'm going to show you how I do that. It's actually not as hard as you would think. You don't need to go take a coding course or any of the old 2016 methods of building a tech company. In fact, all you need really is you and your computer. And the tools are cheap or free and very, very accessible and easy to use. So today I want to show you how to build an app. We're actually going to build two apps, and you will see that it is actually not that hard. And let's get started. If you need an app, you can build it yourself, or I can build it for you. I'm very excited about this. Let's get started. First, I wanted to show you all a couple of the things that I have built. This is for the Color Palette Studio. I have built these two tools for them, as well as this browser plugin here for keeping track of brand colors for design. There's a lot of web and graphic designers out there, and the tools that I've created for this client have made life a lot easier. So they're using Shopify to host their things. I'm going to go over here and just log in real quick and go to my tool that I've built for them, and we have a bunch of different ways to quickly build color palettes for design customers. So traditionally this process would take maybe 60 to 90 minutes creating color palettes for customers, and this tool allows designers to build it in about 2 minutes. Once they've got what the customer wants, they're able to create this stuff very quickly. So let's just say that we are designing for an ice cream shop. This tool that I've created will actually generate names too. So we've just named our colors, we've chosen them, and there's going to be something very important here called color contrast, where everything that has a high readability for the customer will be selected, and then we just are able to output these things and send them to our design customer. And this is something that I worked with this client for probably a couple of months and put this together for them. It's a very popular tool. And here's the other thing that I wanted to show you. This is a passion project. This is just something that I created for my hobby of weather balloons. And I like to hunt them down. It's a lot of fun. And half the battle is just knowing where to look for weather balloons. This involves a lot of hiking, a lot of outdoors, and I just need to know where to start to go find them. So I've connected this with a couple of different services, which is Google and a hobby service called SandHub, which allows me to pull the weather balloons from these services and check where they are at. So this is going to check where they are in this area in Arizona that I'm interested in traveling to. It will show them down here. It will show a line for each one. Let's say that we wanted to go try to find this one. This one was probably related to a SpaceX launch, so we'll predict where it's at. We'll copy the predicted latitude and longitude, and then we'll go to Google Maps. We'll paste that in, and now I will know exactly where to look for this particular weather balloon. It looks like it landed on this sort of like mining or construction site, so probably have to ask permission to get in there, but we could probably go in there and find this SpaceX weather balloon. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. So those are a couple of things that I built. Let's now build something together and create our own app. So as you can imagine, probably about half the battle is just knowing exactly what it is that you want to build. For this example, I'm going to say I would like to create a desktop app that is a simple checkers game that can be played by two people with the mouse and or keyboard. And I'm going to say, please provide the code. And I'm sending this to ChatGPT. By the way, this is the premium version of ChatGPT. I think it's like $20 a month right now or something like that. It's like having an entire multi-million-dollar software team that is able to work for you whenever and never gets tired of your requests. So that's what we're using today, and the value here is incredible. As you will see, we can create just code, and we can then run the code that it creates and test it and iterate on it and edit it. So right now it is using a computer code called Python. That's one of the great things, by the way, about creating apps with ChatGPT. If I lost you at computer language called Python, then that's okay. You can have ChatGPT explain the different programming languages that are common, and you can ask it questions, and it never gets tired of answering them. That's the great thing about this new tool, is it will tell you everything you need to know, and it already knows a whole lot of stuff and can just create things for you. So don't let the idea of creating your own code intimidate you too much. You can actually just ask anything that you don't know. So it has here installed. It's told us what we need to install with the terminal, and it's created the code for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this thing here called Visual Studio Code, which, by the way, it will tell you to do this if you are like, well, what do I use to run this code? How do I run it? How do I play the game? The way you do that is you put it into what's known as an Initial Development Environment, or IDE. I use a very popular free one called Visual Studio Code. And we just go in here, we make a new tab. It's kind of like a web browser like that. We're going to click Copy Code here. We're going to go to this new tab we created, and we're just going to paste it in. That's literally all we do. We paste it in. And you see this thing here called Terminal. We can actually type commands into Terminal that will control the computer in much the same way that you can control your house with your light switches, right, to turn your lights on and off, or you can use the circuit breaker box in the garage or the basement or wherever it is and use those switches. This is kind of like using the circuit breaker box. It feels really cool, and I would say that if you type commands into Terminal to run things, you can officially call yourself a hacker. All right, so it says first we need to install something called Pygame. And when you see something like this install command, it's not like part of a big piece of code. That means that we need to go into Terminal and just paste in whatever it's telling us to do. So we go in there, we paste it in, we hit enter, and it's literally installing a program here in our little terminal, and it's done. So now we go over here, and it's asking for the next command, which means that it is complete. It's not showing that there's any errors here, and we are good to go to run this game. But first we need to save it. So I'm going to do save as, and I'm going to call it checkers.py. And we're just going to save it in here in my folder for the weather balloon stuff. Just keep things simple. All right, we have now saved the code that was given to us by ChatGPT. And now we're going to go in here into Terminal, which, by the way, if your Visual Studio Code loads up and there's no terminal down here at the bottom, all you do is click this little button up at the top right here, and it will pop up these different tabs here. And this is where you type in your terminal commands. And we need to tell it to run this game that we just made. So out there living on my computer now is just this little piece of code, and we don't know what it does because we've never run it, right? There's no icon to double click, there's nothing to tap on to open it. What we need to do to run this, and you can make those, you can have ChatGPT explain to you how to make a icon to open your game, but when you're testing it, you don't really want to do that because it's not the final version yet. All you need is to do the part that makes you feel like a hacker and just type in the command to run it. So what we do is we type in Python 3, which is the code interpreter that will run this, Python 3 is like the spell. It's like the magic spell. It's like in Harry Potter, if you were to say Wingardium Leviosa or whatever they say when they need to do things in the magical world, that's what we're doing in our computer. You learn the spells and you remember what they are after you've done them a bunch of times, and there's not that many of them. So we say Python 3, and then we type in the name of our game here, which is checkers.py, and then we hit enter. And immediately we get this error here. What it's saying is that there's no such file or directory. So what we need to do is go in here and see if it actually exists, We don't know if it is actually in here. So here's my February 12 folder. Here is the actual file of what we're working on. And what we can do to run this is we can do open in terminal, which opens up the Max version of this terminal down here. They're going to do the same thing. All you have to do is tell it which terminal or which folder to run in, and it seems like this one here is actually not running in the right folder, which is why it says it's not in there. We're going to go ahead and type in Python 3 and then checkers.py. All right, so it's saying there's no module named Pygame. So that's because we did not actually install this game library here. So we just do pip install another magic spell, Pygame. We run it and it thinks about it, it installs it. It will just take a second, and now it's ready for our next command, which is Python 3 checkers.py. Now it's running. Our code has started. And I don't see that anything has happened here, but there's also no errors. So we're going to look at this code here, see if we can figure out what it is that is causing this to not start for us. I'm going to pause the video and see if we can figure that out. Okay, it literally just needed like another 10 seconds to load. So it says here in our terminal, hello from the Pygame community. And here is our little checkers game here. So I'm going to see if we can figure out how to move it. And okay, so we don't know how to move any pieces, and they're kind of really similar colors, and they're on a checkers board here, which is good. So I don't really know why this isn't starting. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here, and we're going to say, this creates a game board and pieces, but I don't know how to move the pieces. So this is just debugging the code using ChatGPT. And this is something that you end up doing a lot of. And eventually it will help you figure out what is working or what is not working, and you'll have a fully functional app. And sometimes it'll just give you new code. Sometimes it'll tell you which part of it to edit. And this is what you do back and forth for a few hours sometimes. And at the end of it, you have a functional tool or game or app that you are working on. But this is a Python app. It runs on your local desktop. It runs inside your computer. So if you're going to share this with somebody, if you're going to sell it, you would need to make it what's known as an executable file, which is what's going to open if you like double click an icon or you tap on an icon and it opens up on somebody's computer. This, you're not going to want to give something to somebody that they have to go into terminal and type all that stuff out. And that is something that, of course, ChatGPT can help you do when you're ready to ship your code. But this is the checkers game. I could probably get this running, but I'm not going to make you watch me do that. Let's next move to a web app. Those are a lot of fun to create. That's what I do the most of, probably. And I can't wait to show you what some of that looks like. All right, so for our little browser app here, I typed into ChatGPT what I want it to do. I say I want to create a web app. It's called Graffiti. And what Graffiti should do is it should allow users to type in messages and they kind of show up on this bulletin board, right? It's kind of like, I don't know, a bathroom wall or a community bulletin board or something in between those two things where people can just leave messages. And I asked it to create it, I described it, I told it what the page functionality should be here. This right here is how I want the page to work. And now it's going to help me with the code. A lot of times that I have ChatGPT help me build something, I will notice that it kind of thinks through the steps that it needs to do. It describes in depth what it's going to do, even though it says, hey, here's what you need to do to build this. What I think it's really doing is it's giving itself instructions which it then follows. So here it is giving me the JavaScript. So with a web app, there's often going to be a JavaScript element, which is kind of the computation, it's the logic behind it. There's going to be the HTML element, and what HTML typically is the structure of the page. It's like how it appears on your screen. And then there's going to be a CSS element, and what CSS does is it is the style rules for like how big the font is, whether it's in the middle or the side of the page, what color things are, things like that. So often when I build a web app, I'm going to be looking for JavaScript, HTML, and CSS, and ChatGPT usually does this for me. So right now, what it's done is create some functions in JavaScript. This stuff here, it won't do anything unless I have some HTML for it to live in. So I'm going to ask it for that, and we will come back to this video once it's done. Okay, so we've gotten some HTML and CSS to put in here. So I have gone ahead and created a new tab over here in my Visual Studio Code development environment, and it's probably good practice to do this, but when I am developing something simple with a web app, I will split each of these. I will take each of these three things that ChatGPT splits into three separate things, which is HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, and put them in one file. It's not that hard to do. For the CSS, you just put it in between style tags like this. So I'm going to just copy that and paste it in between here. And there's our CSS. And for the JavaScript, I'm just going to put it in between script tags, which look like this. And this way, everything's going to be in one file and all working together. When you get your apps, when they get big and they start kind of being professional level stuff, you will want them in separate files, but for our demo here, we're going to combine it into one. I find that that is the easiest. Next, we need to save this, and we're going to save this as, we'll just save it as graffiti.html in the same working folder that we've been using. And now we go over here and it exists. We can just double click on it. It will open in our web browser. We don't need to use terminal like we did with the Python code. So we just open that up, and here is our web app. So I'm going to type in, my name is Chris, and I'm going to type in, hi, hello, world. And then I'm going to click submit, and there it is. It's working just like I wanted it to. It's got a little date and timestamp there. You get to put your name there. And let's see if it's able to actually remember that my message is in there when I reload the page. This was a feature that I requested from ChatGPT. So I just click refresh, and my message is in fact in there. So the idea behind this app is you just have this running on a computer. I don't know, maybe in a common room or at the family den or wherever it is. You could have this app running, and you could just have people leaving messages, and it would just be a kind of a community bulletin board. But that is developing with ChatGPT. Just a few closing thoughts here as well. But yeah, that is a multi-million-dollar skill if you implement this and find people that need you to create things for them. You can even put artificial intelligence inside of your apps, which is what my shirt means here. This is a line of Python code that tells the app to use artificial intelligence within it. So the kinds of things that you can make now are pretty magical. There's all kinds of services you can connect to, like OpenAI here, or there's lots of Google services, like my weather balloon toy uses the elevation service from Google to tell how high the ground is at a specific location. There's all kinds of services that you can connect your tools to that will pull data that exists out there, and you can use it in your tool. So hopefully this has shown you how to create an app, and if you need an app created, I have created some tools that have gotten pretty much nothing but 5-star reviews. I've been very fortunate in that I've been able to just out of the gate create absolutely awesome tools. So if you need that, get in touch with me and I will see if it's something that I can help you create. But be empowered. If you have more time than resources, then it might be in your best interest to actually create your own app. But if you have a big problem that needs solved for your business or project, that's what I'm here for. I can solve that problem for you. But thanks for watching. Hopefully this has been inspiring for you. This is the new economy where we are empowered by expert automation tools to create all kinds of solutions that just weren't possible for individuals before. I'm very excited about this. This has been very good for me, and I absolutely love doing it. Thank you for watching.